Hi, I'm Alex from Wilkinson Cameras, and recently I took the new Sigma 17-40 F1.8 DN Art lens on holiday with me. The lens was released a few weeks ago now, and it's designed for both stills and video on crop sensor cameras. It's available in Canon RF-S, Fujifilm X, Sony E-Mount and L-Mount. And this is a pretty exciting lens because it's doing something that none of the manufacturer's lenses currently do. I've tested it in the Fujifilm X mount paired with the Fujifilm X-T50 because I wanted a compact and lightweight travel option that I could match to my everyday camera, the Fujifilm X100VI. But I'm also really glad to see another third-party option for Canon EOS R system users, especially something this bright and versatile and unlike anything that currently exists in the native lineup. It's not a particularly small lens, but for a constant f1.8 zoom, it's far from huge. In fact, considering the aperture and the optical performance Sigma has packed in here, it's a very travel-friendly size. I took it with me to the French Alps, through busy streets, to the lake, into the mountains and into the evening for some low light shooting, and it delivered in every situation I threw at it. Like all our lens reviews, this one is packed with real life photo and video samples so you can see how it performs for yourself. And if you like what you see, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button so that you don't miss our future reviews. The 17-40mm focal range doesn't sound huge compared to something like the 16-300mm, which I also recently reviewed, but it's a sweet spot for everyday shooting and is a very high quality lens. On an APS-C or crop sensor camera, that works out to roughly 25-60mm in full frame terms, or about a 2.5 times zoom. It's wide enough for landscapes, architecture and group shots, but it's also long enough for more detail and for portraits. And thanks to the f1.8 aperture, you're not losing light as you zoom either. For me, this range is ideal when travelling. You can shoot a dramatic 17mm wide-angle scene in the morning and then capture candid portraits or food shots later in the day at 40mm without swapping lenses. And because it's bright at every focal length, you can keep your ISO low and your shutter speed high, or shoot in low light without having to consider carrying something extra like a flash. Build-wise, this is part of Sigma's Art line, so build quality is excellent. It feels solid and premium with a mixture of metal and high-quality composite materials. It's dust and splash resistant, which is reassuring when you're caught in a sudden downpour, and the front element has an oil and water-repellent coating, something which I really value when shooting near the sea or in light rain, or just in the northwest of England where it could rain at any moment. The zoom ring is smooth with a short throw, which makes it quick to move through the focal range. It's an internal zoom, so the physical length of the lens remains the same at all times as well. The focus ring is smooth and precise, which makes manual work easy too. There are also 2 focus hold or custom buttons to suit vertical and landscape shooting. There's an aperture ring which can be declicked if you prefer this to be smooth for video. This ring is customizable in the Canon mount, so you can also use this as a custom ring, but in Fujifilm it's set to aperture only. Weight-wise, as is standard, there are some variations between the lens mounts, but the Fujifilm X and Sony E-mounts weigh around 530 grams and the Canon RF comes in at around 560. This actually felt surprisingly well balanced on the X-T50. On a Canon R7 or R50 it will balance just as well thanks to the short and relatively compact barrel design. I wouldn't say it's lightweight compared to, say, a standard kit lens, but with an f1.8 aperture and the build quality of this lens, it's far from a standard kit lens, and it is compact and lightweight for a lens of this class. I could still fit it into a very small bag, and with a good strap, I used the Peak Design leash, it was fine for everyday carrying. For autofocus, Sigma is using the HLA high response linear actuator motor here. It's fast, silent and accurate. And the X-T50 AF was instant in good light and still quick in lower light. I wouldn't say that I've extensively tested the AF, but I didn't have any problems with IAF for stills or video. I didn't have any hunting even in low light. Image quality is where this lens really stands out though, and this is to be expected with a Sigma Art series lens. Wide open at f1.8, sensor sharpness is excellent across the whole image. At f1.8 and 17mm, this does drop off at the corners a little bit, but stopping down to f2.8 and beyond gives added sharpness, and as expected, this is a lens that you can comfortably use wide open without worrying. Bokeh is genuinely impressive for a wide zoom on a crop sensor camera. The 11 blade aperture means that background blur is smooth, transitions are gentle, and you can get excellent subject separation, especially at the 40mm end. At 40mm and f1.8, you can create lovely portraits with creamy backgrounds that look like they came from a fast prime lens. Colour and contrast are strong straight out of camera, and with that kind of more contrasty look that I found that Sigma lenses deliver, and it works really well for travel and street photography. I was using this alongside my X100-6 and I did find that the colours matched up nicely. The lens design itself, along with Sigma's optical coatings, do a great job at controlling flare and ghosting, even in difficult lighting situations. Distortion is minimal for a wide zoom. There is distortion at the wider end, and this isn't unexpected. As is the norm these days, this is corrected digitally, so don't be surprised if you see this in your RAW files without any profiles set. What we tend to see now is that lenses marked up at 17mm, for example, are usually shooting wider than that to allow correction and crop, which leaves you with a 17mm final image at full resolution. This is cheaper and easier than designing the lens with no distortion. For video, the f1.8 aperture means that you can shoot cinematic style with shallow depth of field. You will need an ND filter for this, of course, and thankfully I did, because I was treated to some gorgeous sunny weather while I was away. Speaking of video, focus breathing is minimal for smooth focus transitions. For Canon and Fujifilm shooters without IBIS in your body, you're going to need to keep an eye on shutter speeds, and you will want to consider a tripod or gimbal for video work. The f1.8 aperture makes a huge difference in low light too, and it meant that I could get low light static shots without any problem. The lens doesn't have any stabilisation, which wasn't so much of an issue with the X-T50, which has IBIS, but I would have liked a little bit more help when I was shooting some video handheld. There is some wobble at the edges at 17mm, which isn't unusual for a wide-angle lens. Another pleasant surprise is the close focusing capability. It can focus down to 30cm across the zoom range, letting you shoot semi-macro style detail shots. It's perfect for food photography, flowers, etc. Should you want to attempt some macro style photography with this, the minimal focus breathing means that the focus stacking isn't a problem either. On the X-T50 with IBIS, handheld stills weren't an issue, and the 17-40mm range is perfect for travel content. It would be even better suited to a larger X-T5 body. On a Canon R7, R10 or R50, it's going to be a fantastic bright zoom for hybrid shooters. The R7 is going to be the best choice here, thanks to the in-body image stabilisation. In Sony, this will make a great addition to most of the APS-C series, but particularly models like the A6700. Honestly, I think this lens is going to be a must-have for a lot of APS-C shooters. For Fuji and Sony users, it's a dream travel zoom with prime light performance. For Canon RF-S users, it fills a huge gap in the system. There's simply nothing else like this in the native lineup. In fact, there's not much to compare it to across most of the brands. So if you want a very high quality, fast aperture, everyday travel and some video work lens, you're going to want to consider this. The only downside is the lack of image stabilisation, which can be overcome in most cases by using a body with in-body image stabilisation. The UK price at the time of filming is $779, and I think this is a very, very good price for such a great quality lens, and a zoom lens as well. If you're watching in the UK, then you can pick up the Canon RF-S, Fujifilm X or Sony E-Mount from Wilkinson Cameras, and I'll put some links below so that you can check the latest prices and any special offers. Please do consider buying from us instead of some big faceless corporation or from another country. It's your support that allows us to go out and make reviews like this, and to have our knowledgeable and friendly staff help you out over the phone, on email, etc. So we really appreciate it when you shop with us. I hope you enjoy the sample shots and footage. Do subscribe if you want to see more of these types of reviews, and let me know in the comments what you think about this lens, whether you've tried it yet or if it's going on your wish list. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.